Here's Stuart Varney talking about the Trump transition to, staining the White House again.
This is definitely not a normal transition from one administration to another. Anything but. President-elect Trump has a deep distrust of the federal government. He remembers how he was treated last time around. He called it the deep state.
Can you believe this shit? Listen to this. This is opposite land. He remembers how he was treated last time. He called it the deep state. How the fuck were you treated? Maybe if you stopped being a traitor and stopped, trying to use taxpayer money as your own personal, extortion fund? Maybe if you weren't such a threat and danger to national security, like just blabbing out, tweeting out classified information. In the Oval Office, he just spewed out this classified, the tweet was another thing that he tweeted. And then all the corporate media had to sane wash it and say that, well, the minute that the so-called president tweets something out, it's no longer classified, because he can go booga, booga, booga and unclassify anything. And like Trader Trump said, he can unclassify things just by thinking about it. So we should all be able to read his mind. And God knows, I wouldn't want to go there without a flashlight and a gun and backup, right? Legally and peacefully. But so the deep state is after Trader Trump. That's why he's not following the decorum or the traditions of a seamless transition. Well, he didn't do it the last time because he lost and he's not man enough to respect the peaceful transfer of power. And he wouldn't give Joe Biden or the team any access to anything. So they not only were the Democrats behind, they had to catch up then. Even though, let's not forget that Trader Trump left office with the worst jobs record since Herbert Hoover. But I know how maggots recall it as the magical dreamland of utopia they lived in at the time. I guess because maybe they like it, because they like, you gotta wonder, they must like when Americans are needlessly dying, right? Because that's what was happening. They must like when Americans are screaming at each other in a store about their freedom, wearing a mask, a piece of cloth over their face in the middle of a goddamn pandemic. They must like the million dead, the mass graves. They gotta, I guess, because they recall that time so fondly when everything, when the first responders were wearing garbage bags and Trader Trump was sending COVID testing machines to his master Putin, while here in America he sent broken down old junk to hospitals. That's the truth, goddammit. Hold on. This is Tara Devlin. All right, see you in a minute. So here's Bizarro World. This is why we're in this boat, because listen to this. This is what these maggots are listening to. They listen. This is Fox Business. Okay, Stuart Varney just catapulting the propaganda,
which deliberately undermined his administration. He's not forgiven and he's not forgotten.
What?
Federal agencies have been...
How did they undermine? Okay, I'll let it go.
Cut right out of the transition process. The transition team is not cooperating with the General Services Administration, which is supposed to be in charge of the handover. Trump doesn't trust them. Remember, they shared documents from 2016 with the Mueller investigation.
Yeah, bitch. Because he's a fucking... They were doing their job, God damn it. They were investigating the traitor Trump because he had so many Russian spies flying around him like flies on shit.
of the Russia hoax. Trump doesn't
See?
trust that.
Listen to this
He doesn't
shit.
trust the
The
FBI.
Russia hoax.
Trump doesn't trust them. Remember, they shared documents from 2016 with the Mueller investigation of the Russia hoax. Trump doesn't trust that.
Trump doesn't trust. Let me remind everybody that it was not a hoax, okay? The Russia hoax? A lot of people went to jail for a hoax. And no matter how many times they say it, this is why we're living in bizarro world. Well, they're in bizarro world, but we all have to live there, I guess, because it's unbelievable. And it makes me wonder, am I alone here, having to set these maggots straight? I don't know. The Russia hoax, it's no hoax. How come every time one of these maggots talk about Russia hoax, even on the floor of Congress, they say Russia hoax, Russia hoax? The Democrats never respond. They never say, before I begin, it's not a hoax, but Traitor Trump knows how to just repeat the lie, and it will become the truth to the maggots. The fact is, here's the facts about the so-called Russia hoax, which isn't a hoax. Once again, I know I have to repeat. U.S. intelligence agencies concluded, the 17 U.S. intelligence agencies, including, there was a Senate report with the Republicans. The Republicans were involved, and it was 50-50. It doesn't matter, but this is how we roll now. U.S. intelligence agencies concluded that Russia conducted a covert operation to influence the 2016 election, aiming to benefit Trump. This is in a Senate report. All you got to do is Google it, Stuart Varney. But he knows that. But he knows also that the people who he's talking to are easily led, and that they are looking for any excuse to vote for somebody as hateful as they are, and therefore their own demise. Vote for their own demise. It's true. And their children's demise, and their country's demise, because they just don't like sharing with brown people or trans people or other people. They want a Christian fascist state where everyone knows their place, and the dear leader saves them from all the scary world of others who don't know their place. That's it. Democracy is scary to them. People read books that they don't like. They don't all believe in Jesus. Well, I argue that the maggots don't believe in Jesus. They really don't. If you want to get technical, we got the receipts. We have the things that Jesus says, and then you have the maggots, who they like to say they're doing it in the name of Jesus, but Jesus came back, he flipped their tables over. That's for sure. They listen to nothing that Jesus says. So this assessment is supported by bipartisan investigations talking about that Russia conducted a covert operation to influence the 2016 election to benefit Trump, not to benefit Democrats, because Trump is a puppet. Trump is a traitor. He is a danger to America. He's the best gift that Putin could ever wish for. And the maggots wrapped him all up in a nice little bow and gave him to the authoritarians and the Nazis and everyone who wants to destroy democracy and diversity and freedom. So funny enough, though, there are plenty of these Christo-fascists. They want to destroy freedom. That's it. As we see, you're not free to be yourself. You're not free to not worship a sky spook. You're not free to live an authentic life. Well, you're free only in the constraints and confines that they lay out for you in fascism. If you fit into that mold, well, bully for you. But most people, that's why you will never see, and if I'm wrong, please correct me on the chat, show me a successful right-wing government where people are happy. Huh? Where people are, it's just a dreamland. I know when in the early days of the Third Reich, right? When the Nazis hosted the Olympics, they invited everyone, and everyone was on their best behavior. Tone it down with the Jew bashing, and don't say anything about the camps and blah blah blah. And it all looked very nice and orderly, and everyone was so patriotic. But scratch that surface, and you'll see, the real disease of whatever that is. The orderly. You think that's what you want? Well, I mean, a lot of them did. That's what's so scary, and we see it repeating itself here. History is repeating itself, because how many of these maggots? They wouldn't care. Their neighbors disappeared in the night. That's what happened in the Nazi Germany. Yeah, they're like, oh great, a job just opened up. They all know. They all knew. They saw first it was the re-education camps, the labor camps, right? And then they saw the slave labor. And then they saw the trains. They knew. Where the hell were people going? Oh, they're being relocated to Madagascar, right? That was God help us. It's fucking Nazis. These goddamn fascists. And now they're marching in the streets of America. When you have inspired Nazis and emboldened Nazis, I mean, that's why the next day when Trader Trump was elected, by a very slim margin, not a mandate, maggots. I don't care how many times you repeat it. We're going to go over it. Next day, black people in this country were getting texts, personalized texts, to report to their whatever plantation. What a disgusting way to be, right? That's what you do with your limited lifespan. Oh, God, these people. That's your boy. That's what you inspire. You're not inspiring, let's help each other. Let's, we're all Americans here. Please. Yes, so Trader Trump, there is no Russia hoax. Russia interfered in the 2016 election to benefit Trump. The assessment is supported by bipartisan investigations, including findings from the Senate Intelligence Committee and Special Counsel Robert Mueller, which documented extensive contacts between Trader Trump associates and Russian officials. And the Durham report, released in 2023, has been cited by Trump and his supporters to argue that the investigation was unfounded. However, right? Always a however. Legal analysts emphasize that this report did not discredit the fundamental conclusions of the Russia investigation, but that doesn't matter. See, they knew that the maggots would not read the Russia report or even the Durham report, so-called report. They needed it. It's like when Trader Trump tried to use taxpayer money to extort an investigation, the announcing of an investigation against his political rival, extorting Ukraine with the money that the representatives had already voted to give Ukraine, because the Congress holds the purse strings, not the dear leader. That's the way the founders, if you're a patriot, you kind of know that. The founders set it up like that, so the dear leader can't be a king. You got to go to Congress for the money. Oh, we'll be right back. This is Tara Devlin, Unapologetic Liberal Talk. Become a patron, do all that. Okay. Yeah, so they counted on the the maggots, not reading, just listening, the repetition of the lie. Russia hoax, Russia hoax. We accept you. We accept the google gobble google. Have you seen my latest NFT? Google gobble. How about the guitar? He just had a signed guitar. How about a watch that doesn't exist? How about an NFT? How about some Trump bucks? Bum bum bum. Bing, bing, bing. Limited edition. Bum bing bing. I mean, like, fucking disgusting. Disgraceful. Yeah, let's see. Continued disinformation. The narrative framing the Russia investigation as a hoax aligns with broader disinformation strategies often employed by Russian state media. These strategies include creating an alternative narrative that downplays or denies factual events, thereby influencing public perception. And that's what we see here. Russia hoax. This whole thing. Listen, here we go.
Doesn't trust the FBI, so there've been no background checks of nominees.
He's
said to resent bitterly the Justice Department for the Mar-a-Lago raid and for the lawfare waged against him.
There's no fucking raid. There's no lawfare. It's like saying lawfare against Alphonse Capone. You know how Trader Trump loves to talk about Alphonse Capone, like he likes to talk about the penis size of men he admires. Alphonse Capone, the great gangster. It's like saying the FBI was engaged in lawfare against Al goddamn Capone. Lawfare. Well, maybe stop being a criminal. Stop, trying to steal the election. Stop lying about, the election. Stop calling up the Secretary of State of Georgia and saying, I need you to find me the votes to win. Come on. We all heard it when he's like, come on, give me a break here. I only need 11,000 votes. What's the big deal? There's nothing wrong with saying you recalculated. He even told him. He gave him the lie. But the guy wasn't as corruptible as the ones that are there now, that are dealing with him now, because that's the only thing. This is what happens in fascism. Expertise is replaced by loyalty, and that's the only thing that matters. Loyalty to the dear leader.
He doesn't trust the State Department, which was leaking like a sieve in his first administration.
Yeah, because he was lying, and people couldn't believe their eyes or their ears. Because, Trader Trump doesn't understand that he's not a king. That there's a equal, supposedly co-equal branches of government. That's why when he was on the phone with Putin, there were people monitoring it. And Lieutenant Vindman, or what was he? I can't remember his rank. Not lieutenant. He was Colonel Vindman. He heard Trader Trump say, I need you to do me a favor, though. Announce. You don't even have to do the investigation. Announce an investigation against Joe Biden. I need you to do me a favor, though. And that's why it was reported. Yes, Colonel Vindman. And he did his job. Anybody who does their job is a problem in a fascist authoritarian takeover. But can you believe this? This piece of propaganda that this fucker read on the air. Stuart Varney.
In the press of his phone conversations with the President of Mexico and the Prime Minister of Australia, deliberately undermining him.
Undermining? Because he's a goddamn baboon. He undermines himself. And if there are... don't you think we have the goddamn right to hear what the goddamn baboon is doing in our behalf? Oh, we're not supposed to know? We're just the American people. Well, we're dumbasses. Just buy this NFT, suckers. Oh, it's going to be great. It's a beautiful world now coming. I wonder how many millions he'll kill this time.
Time around, when he took calls from the French and the Saudis,
Unreal.
the president-elect used his own interpreters. Therefore, there's no official transcript. Therefore, no leaks possible.
Fuck you. And that's not a problem? He's talking to the Saudis with his own interpreters and no transcripts. Pig. You filthy pigs. You filthy fascist pigs. And I'm sorry, I'm letting loose on pigs inadvertently. Because pigs are good. Not like this. Wow. And you think that's a good idea. But that's what is happening. This is the bizarro world, the cuckoo land, where a traitor who couldn't pass a background check because he's a goddamn Putin puppet and a dumbass to boot and a con man and a grifter that won't stop grifting. What a disgrace. What an embarrassment to this country. Then this propagandist freak over here is telling the dumbasses who believe him, that don't react to this. They react to it like, yeah. Not like me having a goddamn conniption, hearing all these filthy lies. But they think that it's a good idea for the traitor, the con man who couldn't pass a background check, who we know all of his crimes. Okay, the convicted felon, the convicted rapist, and on top of it, a traitor who sent the mob to the Capitol, keeps lying about the election, that he's using his own interpreters, talking to the Saudis, so there's no transcript? How fucking dare you? Could you imagine? Okay, play the game. That's how you know that this is bullshit and it's bizarro world. If that was Obama, if that was Biden, using his own interpreters and not producing a transcript, what would this pig Stuart Varney do?
And you can tell the depth of his anger by the men and women he's appointed to run federal
the
agencies.
Clowns.
Whoa, it's slash and burn at the Justice Department with Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. It's deep Pentagon reform with Pete Hegseth as Defense Secretary. Former wrestling executive Linda McMahon will completely realign the Education Department. And Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, whoa, they will chop anything and everywhere they can.
Fuck
No
you.
delays, please. Trump wants his appointees installed during a Senate recess, meaning no lengthy and possibly embarrassing confirmation hearings.
Embarrassing.
One aide to the president-elect
Possibly
says
embarrassing.
Trump is conducting a hostile takeover on behalf of the American people, and so it is. Trump is doing what he said he would do. Things are going to be very different.
Things are going to be very different, and that's how you normalize the end of America. Things will be very different, but you'll love it. You'll love when, what? I don't know, you lose your job. I hope all these maggots lose their jobs. See, this is the only saving grace is that, I just want them to see the light, because they never see the light unless something affects them directly. So when the sting of the lash of the traitor falls upon their shoulders, we're going to hear a lot of whining and crying. That's for sure.